Namaste. 8th house Jupiter is a case of extreme. Either you are at the top or you are at the low bottom. 8th house Jupiter can either make you a very rich person or you will continue to struggle throughout your life. There is no middle ground. It is an extreme case. Depending on the planets such as Mars, Sun, Moon and Mercury, this 8th house Jupiter will give its results. Rahu in 8th house will drag you towards occultism. Occultism is inferior. It deals with the mysteries of life because it thinks that there are many mysteries. But spiritualism knows no mystery because a spiritual person is not a blind person. He has eyes. He can see the truth as it is. There is no mystery for a spiritual person. And so, Jupiter in 8th house has the potential to give you that eyes, those eyes, to see as it is. And so the 8th house Jupiter native generally doesn't feel any attraction towards occultism or uncovering any mysteries of life. Because if he is an evolved soul, he understands that there is no mystery. It is just the blind people who keep on thinking that there must be some mystery. That is occultism. All kind of magic and all kind of things come under occultism. But a great spiritual person like Bhagwan Raman Maharshi or Sai Baba or Gajanan Maharaj, for them there is no occult. There is no mystery. They can see the truth as it is. And so, in a way, Jupiter in 8th house is a beautiful placement compared to Rahu in 8th house. A Rahu in 8th house person can get dragged into the world of black magic. But a Jupiter in 8th house person generally doesn't go to that side. He is more focused on his self-growth. And so in this podcast, I have talked briefly about Jupiter in 8th house. The most striking significance or the most striking quality of Jupiter in 8th house is that if the other planetary placements are positive, this Jupiter 8th house gives a wealthy family, a rich family, or even if the person is born in a poor family, he is able to become rich and he attains a lot of wealth. Because 8th house Jupiter aspects the 2nd house. Wheresoever Jupiter casts its drushti, the matters of those houses improve. So generally, 8th house Jupiter provides you with a good family, a good finance, and overall, it takes care of money. I have covered many more details in this podcast. And I always mention that Vedic astrology is not limited to any religion. Of course, this is a public forum. There are many idiots out there who don't like to listen about Sufi saints. How come this man is talking about Sufi saints when he is explaining Vedic astrology? How come this man is talking about Jesus, Mahavira? I will continue to talk because Sanatan has no limitation. Whatever is good, Sanatan has accepted it. And so if you don't like to watch my channel, please change the channel. No need to comment and no need to waste your energy. As I have always said, my channel is only for a selective class of people. So, on this note, let's begin with this podcast, Jupiter in 8th house. Jupiter in 8th house is a sign that the individual has arrived to self realize that life has no mysteries, and this realization becomes deeper and deeper as he or she embark on her spiritual journey. Jupiter in 8th house is like, I have jumped into the ocean and I will come out only when I find the treasures within. And so, when Jupiter in 8th house is placed in a good sign and has support of other well placed planets, then the native succeeds in finding the treasures of life both on the outside as well as inside. Meaning, he becomes a wealthy person as well as he also attains enlightenment, especially after the age of 42. The Guru has now jumped into the problem area of your life. So it is natural that most of your problems, especially the unseen, will be resolved miraculously. This placement is a placement that gives the native a rare opportunity to experience many miracles in his or her life. In our Marathi language, there is a beautiful verse, Ashakya te Shakya Kartil Swami, meaning the master will make the impossible possible. And so this placement indeed is a sign that the native is a blessed person, and even though he may not have a guru in physical form, still his guru exists in non-physical form and is always helping him during the many difficult phases of his or her life. The presence of Guru in the 8th house indicates a devoted disciple who is unwaveringly committed and willing to go to great lengths to ensure that the teachings of their master are faithfully followed. Now, when the Guru has jumped into the problem area of your life, it is natural that most of his energy will be focused on solving the problems rather than rewarding your prayers. So, Jupiter 8th house Kundali is a case where problems will be solved, and it may happen depending on the level of the horoscope that at some stage of life the native himself may rise to the level wherein he could become a guru and start solving the problems of people. When Jupiter is in the 8th house, native is a good problem solver. When it comes to profession, then any profession that has more to do with problem solving, such as management consultant, politician, social worker, psychologist or therapist, engineer, IT specialist, detective or investigator, mediator, research scientist, operations manager, financial analyst, legal consultant, any of these professions which has more to do with problem solving are very beneficial for the native's material growth. In addition to these professions, Jupiter in 8th house native can also become a good astrologer, a good tarot card reader, hypnosis or past life regression specialist, or a good psychologist. As mentioned earlier, the highest level of 8th house Jupiter is a direct realization of the ultimate truth, leading the person to great heights of enlightenment.
Looking at it from a perspective of material prosperity, having Jupiter in the 8th house tends to bring greater financial benefits compared to having Jupiter in the 2nd house. When Jupiter is placed in the 2nd house, it magnifies the hidden qualities of the 8th house. On the other hand, Jupiter in the 8th house not only amplifies the spiritual riches associated with the 8th house, but also enhances one's family's well being, financial stability, substantial savings, and ownership of valuable assets. Retrograde Jupiter in 8th house is a sign that the native introspects a lot, and when other aspects are good, then such a native is able to bring much improvement in his life by correcting his mistakes. Always remember, making a mistake is not a crime, but making the same mistake again and again and again remains no more a mistake but a choice. Jupiter in 8th house miraculously saves the native from all kind of debts. No matter how many debts or loans he has on his head, by some way or the other he is able to pay back and thereby get relieved from the burden of loan and debts. It is a good placement if the native is a businessman or an entrepreneur, as this position is favorable for getting easy loans. If Jupiter is positive and placed in a good sign, then the native enjoys good support from his or her in-laws. The native's partner comes from a good affluent family, and usually this is a favorable placement for a happy married life. Usually divorce is not seen with this placement. One good example is Henry Ford, the American automaker and a great industrialist. In 1888, 24-year-old Henry Ford marries Clara Jane Brandt. Clara Ford proved to be a strong advocate for her husband's business ventures. 50 years later, Henry Ford, who had established the Ford Motor Company, invented the highly popular Model T car and transformed the automotive industry with his mass production techniques. In a 1938 New York Times Magazine article, Henry Ford mentions that marrying Mrs. Ford was the greatest day of his life. The 8th house Jupiter proved supportive for Henry Ford's married life. The only condition is that Jupiter should be in good association. In Henry Ford's chart, Jupiter is seen with Saturn and Venus in 8th house Virgo sign. The placement of Jupiter in the 8th house symbolizes the embodiment of faith. It is a distinctive positioning that indicates complete trust and belief in a higher power. And that reminds me of a beautiful story of Marpa. In Tibet, there is a beautiful story about Marpa. It may not be factual, but it is tremendously significant. And so, there was a man called Marpa. And Marpa heard about a master. He was searching and he went to the master. He surrendered to the master. He trusted totally. And he asked the master, "What am I supposed to do now?" The master said, "Once you have surrendered to me, you are not supposed to do anything. Just believe in me. My name is the only secret mantra for you. Whenever you are in difficulty, just remember my name and everything will be alright." Marpa touched his feet and he tried it immediately. He was such a simple man. He walked on the river. Other disciples who had been with the master for many years could not believe it. He was walking on the water. They reported to the master, "That man, you have not understood him. He is no ordinary man. He is walking on water." The master said, "What?" They all ran towards the river, and Marpa was walking on the water, singing songs, dancing. When he came to the shore, the master asked, "What is the secret?" He said, "What is the secret? It is the same secret that you have given to me, your name. I remembered you. I said, 'Master, allow me to walk on water.' And it happened." The master could not believe that his name. He himself could not walk on water, but perhaps he had never tried. But it would be better to check a few more things before he tries. So he said to Marpa, "Can you jump from that hill?" Marpa said, "Whatever you say." He went up on the hill and jumped, and they were all standing in the valley waiting. Just pieces of Marpa will be there. Even if they can find pieces of him, that will be enough. The hill was very high. But Marpa came down smiling, sitting in a lotus posture. He came just under a tree in the valley and sat down. They all surrounded him. They looked at him, not even a scratch. The master said, "This is something. You used my name?" He said, "It was your name." The master said, "This is enough. Now I am going to try." And the first step in the water, and he sank. Marpa could not believe it when he sank. His disciples jumped in and somehow pulled him out. He was half dead. The water was taken out of his lungs. Somehow he survived. And Marpa said, "What is the matter?" The master said, "You just forgive me. I am no master. I am just a pretender." But Marpa said, "If you are a pretender, then how did your name work?" The pretender said, "My name has not worked. It is your trust. It does not matter who you trust. It is the trust, the love, the totality of it. I don't trust myself. I don't trust anybody. I cheat everybody. How can I trust? And I am always afraid to be cheated by others because I am cheating others. Trust is impossible for me. You are an innocent man. You trusted me. It is because of your trust that the miracles have happened." Whether the story is true or not does not matter to me. One thing is certain, that your misery is caused by your mistakes and your bliss is caused by your trust, by your love. Such kind of trust and deep love is possible when Jupiter is in the 8th house. It doesn't matter whether the master is fake or real. What matters is that how much real your faith is, your trust is. Marpa was a real, faithful follower. He had immense faith in his master's name. That his faith led him to many miracles, so much so that his fake master was also moved inside out. It is a wonderful story where a true seeker, a true faithful disciple transforms his fake master and makes him realize the immense power of faith and love. Such a faith is possible with Jupiter in 8th house. When it comes to fake commercial masters that you see nowadays all around the media, it is likely that when you have an afflicted Jupiter with Rahu or afflicted Jupiter with Ketu in the 8th house, that you may become an easy victim of such fake babas and sadhus. So if you have Jupiter with Rahu or Jupiter with Ketu in 8th house, then please be aware and save yourself from the many vultures who move around by wearing the mask of a guru. Many people associate 8th house Jupiter with occultism, but that's not what it is. Highly evolved souls with Jupiter in 8th house are spiritualist and not occultist. An occultist is always trapped in a circle. He goes on and on and on, and yet is unable to experience the ultimate truth. Whereas a spiritual person is never caught in all those fancies of occultism. He is simply focused on his heart because he is perfectly aware that heart is the only place where he can meet God, because God dwells in your heart. And so heart meditations, daily mantra chanting, yoga exercise, all of this is more appealing to an evolving man or an evolving woman having Jupiter in 8th house. They are not interested or drawn towards the dark world of occultism. Rather, they are more driven towards finding the light, the ultimate light of the divine truth. Enough for now. I will be back soon with yet another podcast on the upcoming lunar eclipse. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.